right, guys, here we go again with another of our Evolution Consulting market update videos as they have come to be known. This one being recorded on the 12th of October 2016. We did record one of these yesterday, but the lighting and audio, well, with the new gear, man, there's a bit of a learning curve. So in the interest of providing a solid product, we said, yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of a do-over on that. So nonetheless, guys, we might as well start at the beginning. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the snazzy new audio setup. You can see we got ourselves. We did what we should have did right off the bat. We got a nice hardware mixer, and obviously now everything's working according to plan, as we like to say. And of course, guys, seriously, feedback, pardon the pun on that, but feedback as far as the audio quality and the video quality of the, obviously this new stuff here is always welcome. Please, please, please. I am not a sound engineer, okay? I am a technologist, and I usually figure things out very quickly, but this is a first for me. I've not really used any of the real broadcast type hardware before, so again, input, guys, constructive criticism as far as if any of you happen to be sound engineers or audio specialists, any input that you may have, always welcome. But we will start at the beginning, I suppose, and that is, for those of you that have been following along on Twitter, hopefully you have been, and for those of you that have been reading Switch and Signal, which if you haven't been subscribing to, we encourage you to do so. We'll probably be wondering, well, where the hell is the metals rally? And we'll get to that in a second, but the first thing I did want to mention, and I mentioned it in Switch and Signal, we mentioned it on Twitter a couple of times, the reason we brought up Twitter, is for those of you that are in those long oil plays, those UWTIs, the UCO, USO, ERX, or any of those long oil plays, guys, about 3 weeks ago, we started about 3 weeks ago saying, kind of, guys, it looks like, the oil rally is kind of starting to happen. And I mean, we were as early as March kind of pretty much flawlessly forecasting the double bounce on oil. If you listen to the petroleum podcast that we recorded that in early March, and we were pretty much spot on perfect with the timing and such. But nonetheless, what we are suggesting at this point, guys, is out. All right, out skis. Time to clear those trades. All right, I mean, they're UWTI especially had a couple of rocking days in a row on that. ERX had a couple of rocking days in a row. All right, and the reason we're going to say that now is based upon our information. We might be sort of looking at a little bit of a pullback on oil before a move higher. So, guys, in the interest of protecting those earnings, okay, we're going to say pull the profit, pull the principal out. All right. And we get above $55 a barrel on that, that's a different story. Then we got something for real going on there. But until we see plus, we'd rather miss this much of a much bigger rally just in case, and call it a little bit of a lesson learned from the metals trades. All right, it is what it is. But out of those oil trades now, guys, let's see what we got going on geopolitically. It has very little to do with technicals, by the way. It's not, we're coming up on technical resistance or stuff like that. It's got very little to do with that, and a lot more to do with the geopolitical component of a weaponized commodity, or the pricing weaponization of a commodity that is oil, okay? So, you see, Putin talking about reaching a supply agreement with Iran and OPEC and such. All right, guys, let's let that happen first, all right? If you got definitive direction on that and you miss a little bit of the rally, that's okay, because you don't know what they're going to pull with that stuff. We haven't seen any information to say hard and fast, yep, okay, it's for real, it's going straight to $70 a barrel again, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. On a Trump win, is that possible? Yeah, absolutely. Is he going to be the one to lift, sanctions on Russia when he wins? Notice I say when he wins. Absolutely, he will be. But until then, guys, I'm going to say clear those oil trades. Let's play it safe on that one, all right? We'll be the first to say that there are times we do play fast and loose a little bit. You see that in the metal trades, but when you got something, I mean, we got a couple of nice days right in a row on UWTI, UCO, USO, ERX, and if you guys are trading your own stuff that you like, I would say clear that out. Let's see if we get a little bit of a pullback, we can always rebuy, and because there's going to be a retest, probably in a week or two, but just in the interest, or like I said, the other alternative is, it's just going to keep going. And if it does keep going and we get above 55 a barrel, that's the point where we're going to say, okay, it's for real. We got to go going back to something that represents, a real supply and demand number, as opposed to Vlad opening the faucet in response to, in response to the Western sanctions that were placed upon him, going, oh yeah, F me, no F you, and pretty much, coming off the top rope and killing the shale industry. Okay, so guys, clear those oil trades for now, which brings us on to metals trades and the WTF. Right, the Chinese holidays over, Golden Weeks, ironically named, are over, okay, and then the Chinese are back to work, and well, where the hell is the metals rally, right? First of all, first thing we're going to say is, guys, obviously if we saw information suggesting that, metals were going to take a $50 haircut effectively, all right, we would have said something, okay? The object of the game here is to make money and to, obviously, in our own self-interest, to prove how accurate the system is. But if nothing else, we kind of proved something else, which is, guys, they're getting desperate. We've been saying it for months. They're getting desperate. It's getting obvious. And I think they've even finally made peace with the fact now that there's really not a whole hell of a lot that they can do about the inevitable at this point, which is a rising spot price. But they certainly capitalized on the week that the Chinese took off, for their national holiday week there. And we saw, I guess, you guys on Twitter, you like to call it smackdowns or smashdowns, and certainly, there was that. All right, but again, guys, we have to, when you have weeks like this and you have a couple of days in a row where you see, like, especially on the triple leverage stuff, you're going like, oh, what the hell is going on, all right? We do have, I do have a couple of customers that we talked to I talked on Twitter, okay, and that I talked to through our messaging platform that absolutely 100% have done the right thing. They treated this pullback like a gimme that thank you kind of thing, and they just lowered their cost averages. And for their, obviously to respect their privacy, I'm not going to share their cost averages, but they are in a very advantageous position. That is all I'm going to say for the next leg up on metals, guys. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist, you don't have to be a technical analyst, you don't have to be a brain surgeon, okay, to go back and take a look at the historical charts of JNUG and NUGT and kind of see, been there, done that. And for those that bought this dip and those that bought the, and those that capitalized, kept lowering their share averages, their share price averages, the happy times will be here again soon. Relax and don't worry. But in the meantime, when you start to, or if you start to doubt the whole metals play, where you go, this guy have any idea what the hell he's talking about, you have to go back to the original macro level analysis, guys. And this is one of the reasons that we have been so accurate in the forecasting, and you can see that on our proven accuracy page, not only in economics, but in social engineering and social architecture, because that's the angle that we look at stuff at, okay? The analysis that we're providing and the forecasting that we're providing is not chart-based. It's not technicals based. It is a purely social architecture, social engineering, evolutionary, dare I use that word, no pun intended, analysis of what's going on in terms of a shift in geopolitical power. And that's why we can say with the confidence that we do, guys, it's not if, it is when, okay? And that's kind of the reason that we're able to sit back and say, confidently buy the dip. You're not buying some pie in the sky, smoke and mirrors, stock. I mean, that's why we don't even bother talking about, like, last week, what was the hot stock? Twitter, right? Who's going to buy them and that kind of thing. I have no use for that kind of stuff. I have no interest in that kind of stuff because that's exactly what it is, guys. It's smoke and mirrors. It's bullshit, okay? And at the, a week goes by and, now CNBC is still hawking, Twitter might still have interested buyers, whatever the case may be. And it's like, shut up, okay? Stick with what works. I mean, if they want to go on about that, that's fine. But in terms of our investment approach, guys, it's stick with what works. Understand that there's a wealth transfer going on. And when you have these weeks where you go, holy hell, and, we were just as surprised as you guys are, guys. Again, we're going to get it wrong once in a while. We're very forward in saying that. When you're on the ragged edge of technology and you're doing what we're doing at Evolution 4.0, guess what? There are going to be a mistake made, or there is going to be a mistake made here and there, okay? And I'm sure, Edison and Westinghouse and Tesla, they didn't get electricity right the first time either, okay? The point of the story, though, guys, is you have to, when you have these weeks where you see those $50 down day or $50 kind of run in metals and go, oh, what the hell was that? Okay? If anything, that's proof of concept of what we're talking about. Yes, I mean, and it's not a conspiracy theory thing anymore, guys. It's fairly glaringly obvious at this point that there is the desperate repression of the spot price. And again, they're dealing with what I call the new management team of the world, guys. Everything really is a transaction to them. That's where we kind of got that tagline from, okay? There will be penalties for those metal smashdowns, okay? And whether that they're collected immediately or they're put on a little list and go, okay, now that gives us justification to do A, B, or C, okay? The point of the story, though, is go back to those macro concepts, the really simple stuff, guys. Go back to the fact that the BRICS nations, China and Russia especially, chief amongst them, as well as India and others, okay, they're not hoarding tons and tons of physical metals, okay, at a record pace for no apparent reason, or because they're bored, or because they have nothing better to do with their money, okay? That is done intentionally, and that is done because, like it or not, guys, the new system is going to be metals backed. I mean, you can sit down leaders from all different nations, and they may not agree on much, but the one thing I think that they all can agree on is that metal is real money, gold and silver. That's it. Historically speaking, that is one of the few things that, again, if I had to sit down with an entire global council and go, all right, guys, let's re-engineer an entire economic system, I think that would be a fairly decent starting point, because at least you'd get all the heads in the room doing this, okay, to use a sales term. But nonetheless, guys, the new system is going to be metals back. Those that are in a position of power now are well aware of that. And, at the end of the day, you have to remember that, especially when you see these, because intraday, guys, you're going to, I'm sure it's not the last time we're going to see, an attempted smackdown of metals, if you want to call it that. And you know what? It's really, at this point, it's the Anglo-Western banking system, guys. They're digging their own grave. They're giving the Far East, and they're giving the BRICS nations, and they're giving the SGE every possible reason that they could ever hope for to turn around and do something drastic, like a metals-backed yuan, or calling the debt, a portion of, I don't know what, at this point, $19 trillion. They're giving them every reason to do that, okay? So that being said, when you start to wonder, and if you're down in those positions, now I know it sucks, and I'll tell you right now, guys, I'm trading this stuff along with you. It sucks, unless you know how to handle it, which is, kudos again to some of the guys that I talk to that are Switch and Signal subscribers that I talked on a messaging platform, and they're sitting there going like, oh, great, another down day. I can lower my share after. And I go, you know what, guys, you're an inspiration. That's the way to do it. That's what I try to convey to people. Like I said, if you have emotion, okay, and you're easily rattled, this is not the market for you to trade. It's certainly not triple leveraged metals ETFs, okay? And one of the things that I've mentioned recently, I said if I can equate it to something, trading triple leveraged metals ETF to equate it to fishing, okay, is going out trophy hunting, okay? That's going after the world record. You have to wait, you have to be patient, but the reward is tremendous. But that doesn't mean you can't leave a line in the water and go trade some other stuff, and generate those consistent 10, 15, 20% returns, because I got news for you guys. In the land of hedge funds and in the land of managed money, that's what it's all about. 1 or 2, 100, 200% returns, and we've proven it with the 4.0 system. You look at our trading record. We've had more than one member of the triple digit club. I think, depending our last trading analysis of what we've done, I think we had, if you go by price action, from our recommendation to peak, I mean, we have 5 members of the over 100% ROI club. All right, that's not easy to do. That does take a tremendous amount of insight to be able to do. But you know what? As cool as those are, we're proud of the fact that our average, positive price action from recommendation is 50%. So like I said, even at a 50% screw-up rate, we average 25%, okay? And that's what it's really all about. So point of the story, though, guys, if you're going to go trophy hunting, if you're trading just those metals ETFs, okay, exclusively, you got to make peace with the fact that you're going to have to do, this for a little bit. And you're going to have to wait for those global catalyst events like Brexit, like potential German exit and other such, to get those really ridiculous, where the candlestick blows through the top of the monitor and you need another screen on top to see where it went. All right, but, doing what you can with what you got for the time being is admirable. It's, you lower your share price, you make sure you're in the best position you possibly can be. All right, and you also consider your own risk. I'm not going to go off on that diatribe again, but I've mentioned in many of these market update videos, guys, please, for the love of God, please consider your own investment risk tolerances and your own investment goals and your own ability to look at an account and go, holy hell, if there's like a $50, $20, $30 down day on metals, okay, just make peace with that. And I've told the guys I talked to on Twitter, I go, the reason institutional traders can take the risks that they do is because that's not the money that they're living on. That's not their bill money. That's not their, their rent money or their mortgage money, whatever. So at the end of the day, please consider your own tolerance for risk. Consider the suitability of some of the stuff that we do suggest here based upon the Evolution 4.0 system, all right? But, we've proven we've gotten it right enough times. We're confident in the system, all right? And it's not to say that there aren't going to be days like this. So Well, today was actually pretty decent. We had 8% upside on J Nugget. It was 8% upside as well on NUGT. And you could just see how quickly the losses just get erased on those metals ETFs like that. So again, it's it is what it is. But when you have those moments and you have those kind of like WTF kind of deals, it's like at the end of the day, guys, you got to go back to the fact that you got to realize that a unified metals-backed currency is not an if, it's a when. It's what is happening now. The wheels are in motion already now to ensure that happens. And it is, beyond all else, guys, it is a natural evolution of global economics. I mean, you look at speed of information, and I've said this a million times. You look at the speed of information. You look at the way business is done around the world, how interconnected global economies are. It's not really, it's just a matter of time. That levels a unified global metals-backed currency, levels the playing field, and it removes the component of using money as a means to enact monetary policy. That in and of itself is worth it for me. All right, and I think there's enough people out there now that realize that are going kind of, yeah, now would be good for that. And that's really what the system's headed to, guys. And if you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. But that being said, guys, once again, just want to do a little bit of an update there. All right, and like I said, if you guys are looking for somebody to tell you what you want to hear, you're looking in the wrong spot. All right, this ain't fucking chicken soup for your soul here. This is the way it is. All right, so with that in mind, guys, again, we're going to encourage you to clear those energy trades, take the earnings on that. All right, go buy some physically good delivered metals with it. I mean, you got freaking triple coupon day going on today. And all this week, certainly. So go out and buy your physically good delivered metals. Go protect your purchasing power. Go position yourself, to ensure that you have the purchasing power after the reset. And one thing I would like to add real quick, I'm gonna try to keep this one under 20 minutes. I haven't done one of these for about a week and a half, so trying to jam as much in as we possibly can. One of the things I did want to mention, guys, is I was asked recently, a very good question, is hey, couldn't, theoretically, again, emphasis on theoretically, couldn't theoretically, the Federal Reserve and the ECB and the BOJ, couldn't they all just theoretically print money to infinity? And the answer is absolutely. Could they? Yes. Okay? Would in the future inevitably that system reach some component of critical mass where there was a Zimbabwe moment, where there was a Weimar Republic effect? Absolutely. Guys, I want to make this as abundantly clear as I possibly can. The global economic reset is as much a component of social engineering and social architecture, okay, as it is a natural byproduct of fairly idiotic central banking policy. Okay, there's no question in my mind that the system is it's going to have to collapse. Okay, it's inevitable. You look at the amount of debt, and I could sit here and I can go on for 3 hours and I can read microeconomic facts off this stuff here, but I'm not going to. All right, but the implosion is more of a component of social engineering and more of a consequence of what I'm going to call planetary mismanagement, and from that you may infer what you wish. But it is an engineered, to me, the global economic reset, guys, it's an engineered, I don't want to call it an engineered disaster, but it's an engineered, one of those must-happen events, okay, in order to clear a path for a fourth industrial revolution or a fourth industrial evolution, okay? So again, guys, it's not if, it is when, all right? And to speak directly to the question of, could theoretically the metal smackdowns go on forever? Yes, but there is a new global management team, as we like to say, that's going to make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, number one. Number two, could in a vacuum of reality the printing go on? Can the ECB continue to go on as it is? Yes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon which side of the equation you're on, there are a number of evolutionary forces at work now. It's systemic, and I say that from the non-Darwinian, non-linear perspective, that are at work that are optimizing a system. Okay, and evolution, again, no pun intended, is one of those singular forces, perhaps the only singular force that will optimize a system for the sake of systemic longevity. Okay, and it's a purely singular force, and that's what's happening now, guys. And you see me make reference to stuff like being species-centric. I've often said the current financial system on the planet is not species-centric. So what we're seeing now is the evolution towards that. So there's a lot of stuff going on, guys. When you see those metals plays like that, or you see that a $50 down day on metals, and you're going, what the hell is wrong with them? Don't, because again, the reason we've been as accurate as we've been is because we observe and we report based purely upon a social engineering and a socio-anthropological perspective on economics. I think that's why our stuff's a little bit different. I like to think we got a kind of unique delivery style as well. But that being said, guys, again, hang in there. Like I said, I'm trading this stuff along with you. All right. And oh, by the way, before I forget, before I do my email and Twitter routine here, November 6th, I may have said the 9th in another video, and I was, when you start losing track of time like that, you know you're doing it right. But November 6th, I will be back on a Dr. Janda's show, Operation Freedom, okay? And I have no idea what we're going to be talking about there. It's probably going to be some election and some economics and metals investing type stuff, or at least I hope it is. Talking about playing to our strengths. But on that note, once again, thank you, Dr. Janda. We'll be on that show again November 6th. All right. What time? I have no idea. I'm not even going to take a venture guess. I got to look at my calendar for that. But, of course, if you guys do want to email us, it's somewhere over there. Where is it? Over there? I don't see it. Where the hell is it? Ah, there it is. info@evolutionconsulting.world. info@evolutionconsulting.world. If you wish to email us, bitches, gripes, moans, complaints, constructive feedback. We welcome the constructive feedback. We welcome the constructive criticism. The bitches, the gripes, the moans, the complaints. Okay, you can save those because we have checked recently and we do give the square root of jack shit about those. And of course, if you want to follow us on Twitter, guys, it is @Evo_consultants. @Evo_consultants, if you wish to follow along, which we encourage you to do because every once in a while we do get in the mood on Twitter and we do have some fun on there. All right, guys. So as always, thanks for listening. Again, feedback. Speaking of feedback, what do you think of the new audio system? Okay, the new audio quality, guys. Let me know. And on that note, be good. Everything really is a transaction.